Welcome on into Booby's World right here on the Big Play Network. I'm not Daniel Booby Gibson. That's not Daniel Booby Gibson either. That's Rafa Hernandez Brito. I'm Nick Padone. Booby Gibson is joining us on the phone from Columbus, Ohio.
Ooh.
Scouting is Booby, and we will bring him in right now. Ryan, let's talk to Booby and find out exactly what he's doing out there in Columbus. Truly is Booby's world whenever we talk to him. Booby, what's going on, man? Could you hear us?
Yeah, man, I can hear y'all, man. It's safe to say I'm a little sad, man. I want to be there with you guys, man. But out here in Columbus, man, at the Ohio State, about to check these guys out. And yeah, this is what I do outside of player development and helping these guys get better. I try to scout the world for some of that young talent.
So talk to us a little bit about this process, Booby, because I know, tell the audience, that you were doing this with the Cavs, with the Charge last year, you know, hitting the road, seeing the new talent that's out there for our Cavaliers. Talk to us a little bit about what you guys were able to do on the road last year.
Yeah, man, a part of one of the things that made me so excited about joining the Cavs front office, what they were gonna give me the opportunity to scout as well as do player development. So last year, I mean, I was so much so as to go to a Charge game in the morning and that night be at an Akron or Kent State game trying to find the local guys and give them an opportunity to reach their dreams. And for me, that's been one of the most fun parts. Like last year, there was a kid who wasn't on the Cavs roster or it wasn't on their menu at all. Like they weren't looking for him. But then come to find out, I watch him play. I gave him a nice write-up, and he ends up getting a two-way deal with the San Antonio Spurs. So those type of moments, I'm gonna try to create as many of those as I can, and just let the Cavs know that, like, you know, I'm looking for guys that understand that I feel like could fit into that Cavalier culture. And you know, who better to find those guys than somebody that's been born and bred in it.
You mentioned fitting in the culture, Booby, and people would think that when you go out and watch these kids play, you're looking at them to make the shots and you know, play defense. But what is it exactly that you guys, and I mean you as the organization, what is it that you look for in a kid? Because you're only watching him one night, let's say tonight, and you can't really take the bad as too bad, and I guess the good as too good either, right?
Nah, that's facts, Rob. And I'm glad you said that, because a lot of kids I see when they have scouts at the game, they try to prove that they can score, or prove that they can shoot the ball, or try to prove something to the scout. When honestly, we've already watched tape on you. Like, we already kind of know who you are as a player. But what happens in person is we get to see him in adversity, you know, some tough situations. Like maybe in the game, he might miss 4 or 5 shots. Does that affect how hard he plays defense? Does that affect him, what the way he is with his teammates? Like for me, like that's culture guys that no matter what's going in the game are able to maintain that same tenacity when it comes to trying to win the game. And so that's some of what you look for. Like, you can't put too much into one night, but you try to get an idea of how a kid might compete against another kid that might, you know, be ranked above him or just really giving him a hard time that night.
All right, joining us live from the Schottenstein Center on Recruit is Booby Gibson. Booby, I know you're in the stadium right now. Give me your favorite stadium food to eat when you're out there on the road.
Hey man, I don't know. I'm a glizzy guy, man. I gotta have me.
Did we lose him?
He was having
And,
his glizzy.
yeah, they want to the game. What was that?
We got you. We lost you for a second. All about the hot dog. Tell me a little bit about the topping on a hot dog. What toppings you put on there?
Hey man, I'm Booby's Captain Basic, man. Just give me a dog with a little. This might throw you a little ketchup and mayo. I don't go for the mustard. I put a little light touch of mayo, maybe some onions on that thing, and we good to go. Normally when I'm here though, I don't really get to eat much, man. I try to get to the game real early so I can see the kids warm up. That's another thing I look to see, just how locked in they are before the games. So when I'm here, when I'm at these, I tend to be a little more focused. I don't get to eat too much.
All right, cool. Joining us on location is Booby Gibson. We have more Booby's World with Booby in Columbus, Ohio, straight ahead. Don't go anywhere. Welcome on back into Booby's world. I'm not Booby Gibson. That's not either. I'm Nick Padone. He's Rafa Hernandez Brito, LL Calde. Booby is on location scouting in Columbus. Booby, it was such a fun week for our Cavs, kind of getting right from that slow start. Huge win at MSG against the Knicks. Huge win in Cleveland against those Golden State Warriors. Tell me a little bit, bro, how exciting was that for you to watch the Cavs get on the straight these last couple weeks?
Whoa, I'm going to tell you one thing. I only heard 2 words out of that question, but I think I got it. First of all, I wanted to tell y'all I miss y'all. I don't like talking on the phone. I like being in the studio. But I think you said something about how the guys.
We're losing them.
I think Booby got distracted.
Great to be healthy. No, y'all can't hear me?
We got you. We got you. I think we'll.
Yeah, I was.
Go ahead.
Yeah. No, I know we're going to wrap it up, but I was just saying it was just great to see the guys back healthy. You know, all the guys back on the floor and playing very unselfish basketball, man. It was great basketball to see, and I think now the fans can get you back used to what we do, man. We played Cleveland Cavalier basketball that night.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for joining us on the road, Booby. I know you got a busy night full of work to do watching some of these games, but I appreciate you jumping on here with me and Rob for a quick second.
Absolutely, man. Anytime I can chop it up with my fans and hang out with you guys, man, you know I love it. So appreciate y'all, you know, including me today, man. Y'all knock it out the park. Miss you guys.
Shoot it, Booby! Go find us some good talent
Love y'all, man.
out there
Love
on
y'all.
the road. Thanks so much. All right, that was Booby on the phone from Columbus, Ohio, scouting some of the fresh blood that's out there for our Cleveland Cavaliers, Rob.
I wonder when he's going to go scout Michigan. You know, I forgot I was going to wear Michigan outfit the whole
month
of
here
November.
off is November,
The whole
and
month
you're
of
here.
November.
You're here in your Cavs gear, man. No team up north support here on the Big Play Network.
So excited about the week the Cavs had. You know, Booby was talking about health. Finally, we had 2 consecutive games with the starting lineup together, and fans always get a little bit ahead of the thing, ahead of the game sometimes. And when you think about, for the first time, Max Strus, Darius Garland, Mitchell, Mobley, and Jared were able to play 2 games together. Obviously, the first one was that loss against Indiana in the first game of the in-season tournament. But you mentioned the win in New York.
Yeah.
And this is two things that I think the big W's that the Cavs had in the last road trip, and then, you know, before going on the West Coast. First of all, taking back the loss they had at home against the Knicks, going to Madison Square Garden and winning a game the way they did, and also coming back home and looking for that win. I talked to Max Strus after the game, and when we talked about how before going on the West Coast trip, it's good for the morale boost to finally win at home and to finally be able to beat a team that was undefeated on the road.
Yeah.
You know, the Warriors had not lost on the road, and it was the first game of the East Coast trip, but we did exactly what we were supposed to do. Garland and Mitchell matched up with Curry and Thompson, and then everybody else did their thing. Our bench was amazing, and it obviously was the difference, I believe, in that last game at home. But hey, it's early. It's a marathon, like somebody would say, you know, and the marathon continues, and here we go, West Coast.
Rafa, it has been so cool to see them sustain the injuries, because it was a slow start to the year, and I know you're on social media like I am, and you see some of the complaining that goes on online, but it was really cool to see now at full strength, you know, with DG back, with Mitchell back. We forget that he missed a game there. Jared Allen back. You think from here forth, obviously it always takes a little bit of luck with these injuries, but from here forth, I think this is going to be the truest form as the Cavs go out west to what this team is actually going to be for the rest of this year.
Remember, health allows the coaching staff to stay with their rotations. You know, Lavert coming off the bench. And our team has always been successful when our number 1 defense last year feeds the offense. And we all saw what Jared Allen means to this offense and to the rotations of JB Bickerstaff when he's not when he's not available. And this is a guy who was up there in rebounds. He almost led the league in field goal percentages and contested shots and you name it. Protecting the rim and everything you want to know, but. You saw how much better Evan Mobley looks than his natural positions at the 4. You saw how much better Garland and Mitchell can distribute the ball. And all you expect is to get the reps, to get the consistency, and those numbers defensively will start getting better. Obviously, offensively, Donovan Mitchell has been incredible. Whenever he does something that nobody has ever done for the Cavaliers, especially considering the many years that LeBron James was here, but to start the season with plus 25 points a game in the first 7 games. It is unbelievable the way the start that he has had.
Yeah, he's been phenomenal. Raf, as we wrap up this past week for our Cavs and we start looking forward to this West Coast trip that's ahead, I want to talk a little bit about the 2 big wins that the Cavs have had early on in this season. It's in New York against the Knicks, and then it's at home in Cleveland against the Golden State Warriors. Now, we know those 2 opponents very well for 2 different reasons. Obviously, the Golden State Warriors with the 4 straight consecutive trips to the NBA Finals and the fun that we all had with that. But then the New York Knicks in MSG, and we know the hostile environment that was in the postseason last year. Kind of 2 different versions, in my opinion, of this Cavs roster, where you have the young kids, DG and Spida, that were, that's fresh for them, that loss to New York. But then for some of the older guys, Tristan Thompson, that was able to mix it up and play meaningful minutes in a win against Golden State. Do you think that those 2 opponents, being just the stature of teams that they are and the history that the Cavs have had with them, you think that helps a little bit extra as they start looking forward to the rest of this season?
Without a doubt. And I think more than anything, of just putting the plus in the right column, which is the winning column, it gives them that trust that they gotta have amongst themselves. Remember, this is a team that has 2 new pieces at least that have been added with Struz and Niang. Tristan Thompson always came back, and JP was asked one of these days about whether he's not surprised with what Tristan has been giving him, over 10 minutes a game, man.
Yeah.
But if he has gotten more than what they expected of him, and I think his reply was the perfect one. He's like, he's not surprised because they all know why Kobe Altman went out there and got Tristan Thompson, because he brings that toughness that we were missing. And I think when you talk about the victory in New York, going back to the place where we saw our season basically end by not winning any of the 2 games over there, even though we lost here at home, and beating the Warriors for the first time since Christmas Day on 2016, if I'm not mistaken, in the regular season. I mean, and beating a team that has been playing really well. It's not the team that came last year that didn't play anybody. I mean, we beat them at full strength, and obviously display some of their weaknesses. But I think that the 2 victories mean more in terms of showing the guys what we are able to do when we play together.
A really funny piece of what you just said is the expectation of signing Tristan Thompson. What were they getting into when they signed him? And for me personally, Raf, my expectation was, okay, here's a guy in Tristan Thompson that played a little bit at the end of last year, but really 12 months ago, he was on the set at ESPN. He was doing a show like this, just talking about the game. So I really thought, okay, bringing him in is going to just toughen up Mobley and Jared Allen, hopefully be a good veteran presence for those guys in training camp. But I mean, he is a playable backup center. He is playing meaningful minutes for these Cavs. And I don't know how sustainable that is, but for the minutes that he's given us so far this season, they've been pretty fun.
Every single minute he has played has been an addition and has given JB Bickerstaff another bullet in the bench. And it's not just that his toughness, it is just the fact that he is part of this organization. Yeah. I mean, he is part of the best moment that this organization ever had. And for Tristan Thompson, I don't know if you saw on social media, but when JB Bickerstaff was giving out the junkyard dog chain, he kind of like stepped ahead of the coach and said, Karras was the guy that, he really stepped it up today. And I don't know who you're going to give it to. And that's who JB was going to give it to. But that's the leadership that Tristan can bring to to the thing. Don't forget about the minute that Niang has given too, because in that game in New York, he has his second game of his career with at least 10 rebounds. Max Strus came to Cleveland with 2 career double-doubles. He has 2 already and has been, having issues getting his shot going, for long distance at points. But as what Booby was just talking about, what he's looking at when he's scouting about the kid who's not making a shot, how is he reacting? Max has been active, not only on defense, but in the game against the Warriors, those 2 plays, those 2 layups that he got after the steal, and also the great effort by Lavert to take it from Curry, that kind of sealed the game. Yeah. And that is what you like about this guy. This guy is a hard worker. He's gonna go in there and just not only keep shooting, which I like, but also does not let one end of the game affect what he has to do on the other.
Dude, they're all like that. It really seems like this offseason, the Cavs made a conscious effort to get players like that, team guys that aren't me guys. Tristan fits that mold a ton. Ty Jerome, I think, fits that mold because we've seen him mix it up on both sides of the basketball, offensively and defensively. Raf, last one for you before we head into another break here. Which Cavs player have you been most impressed with to start this young season? Because there's a lot, and we've just talked about a lot of the new acquisitions that have surprised. But I mean, Donovan right now leading the league in scoring. Karras really looks to be the Karras that the Cavs thought they were acquiring when they made that trade years ago. Who's been the most impressive to you?
Obviously, the Spider, the La Araña Mitchell has been, averaging over 30 points a game and already has a game with 6 threes in the game. And all that. You cannot just start this conversation with him. But I like what I've seen from Mobley, a lot more aggressive, getting 2 games of 15-plus rebounds already. Yeah. So that boy in him is going away, and now we're getting that grown man coming in there knowing that going back to last week, we were talking about wins and lessons, learning from what he lived in the playoff about Mitchell Robinson being a little tougher on him and everything. You can see that he's going out there and really trying to make an impact in the game. So as we always say, it's the unit that will get us to the top, and I don't think there's one guy that needs to really super excel. I think it's that guy like Donovan Mitchell or Darius Garland who's going to bring everybody together. And defensively, we're a unit. We're not a one guy, like stopper guy. Isaac Okoro, who missed the last couple of games of the homestand, he's been scoring in double digits too.
Raf, could I interrupt there and just tell you, Isaac Okoro is far away my most impressive Cav so far this season, because we know Isaac Okoro, generational defensive player. He truly is. I mean, the statistics will show you that on that side of the court, Isaac is really good. Okay, but that's kind of all he's been, throughout his young career. And a lot of people were asking coming into this season, can he take that leap? Early on, so far, so good. I mean, he looks confident shooting the basketball, which is something that we haven't seen. We know attacking the rim, that's kind of his strong suit, and he's really polished finishing, in my opinion, closer to the basket. Man, has Isaac been fun to watch so far.
You ask anybody, I'm pretty sure JB will ask you where to sign if you tell him Isaac is going to give him 12, 13 points a game and playing the defense that he does. I mean, he played excellent defense against Bronson at the Garden, held him on the 20 points, and it is a dude that is so hard to guard and gets the whistle going his way most of the time. And Isaac has been, like you said, I mean, really, really impressive. But I go back to, as a unit, the last game that they played at home against the Warriors, that's where you saw what the Cavs are capable of and what everybody was expecting of them. And again, it's only the second game that the whole unit is playing. It's only the second game that JB had everybody set in order and he could mix and match and go with the matchups and you saw the results.
Alrighty, guys. Well, the in-season tournament is here, and Raf and I both have some thoughts. So you don't want to miss this. This is going to be really good. Don't go anywhere. More Booby's World with Nick Padone and Rafa Hernandez Brito straight ahead. Welcome on in back to Booby's World. I'm Nick Padone. He's Rafa Hernandez Brito. Raf, The Cavs dropped their first game of the in-season tournament. The in-season tournament is here and will be here every Tuesday and Friday throughout the entire month of November. But we got to start with this thing at the very ground floor. And when I say ground floor, I mean ground floor. What the hell was that court in Indianapolis? The blue with the yellow streak in the middle. You know what it looked like? It looked like one of those graphics at the bowling alley where you bowl a strike and the pins jump up and do a twirl and it says strike. That's what the floor looked like with that blue, all blue with the one yellow streak. It was horrible, man.
I am not a fan of them, but I gotta tell you something. Ours is
sweet,
wonderful compared to what we have seen so far. Obviously I'm not in marketing, and I don't know what the goal of the league was, but it seems like too much liberty is not working out. Like the court in Chicago. I'm glad we're not playing them because I will get a seizure looking at that red thing. And I don't know if the reflection of the ball or whatever. I'm not a fan of lazy designs, which is what I see here, which is just the logo in the middle. Everybody has the same court and just put whatever colors you want. Miami's court, too. I don't know if you were able to see the Heat court. There were some that were like, and there are others, like I told you, ours is the land in the middle, and then we stay with our colors.
Yeah.
Right? I don't think it's as, I don't want to say repulsive, but insulting like some of the colors were. And I never like when teams go away from the colors that they have.
And the Cavs branding, I've said this for years, and especially in recent years since they brought on Daniel Arsham, who does a lot of the new stuff now, next to none. The wine and gold is classy. The throwback blue and orange you could do a lot with as well. The Cavs branding is super strong, and they could do a lot of fun things and take some liberties, and we've seen them do that with the Metro Park stuff that a lot of teams around the league can't do. That Bulls court where it was all red, it was like this. I saw somebody, and it's on my social at Nick Padone 12. Somebody put it out there, the meme from Seinfeld, where he's like, "What's going on in there, Jerry?" And he's like, "It's the NBA play-in tournament." Like, that's really what it looks like.
But one thing is about the jersey, and I think we have done a really good job. And the jerseys look really good when you see them all together with the court.
Yeah,
like you'll see our City Edition jerseys are awesome this year. Because I'm more into the simple, just don't try to just knock it over the wall, and then you end up just foul pop behind the plate, right? Because you're using too many colors and too many things. But like we have had some awesome City Edition jersey. The rock and roll,
that was cool.
The rock and roll museum jersey was awesome. The City Edition with last year with the land and in conjunction with the Metro Parks, it was great. So, but that jerseys is one thing. You can take liberties, but the courts, I don't know what the goal or the purpose was, or who. I guess, somebody had to say, yeah, okay, send.
Yeah. You know what I think it was? And maybe this is just me playing devil's advocate. I think they've seen success with the City Edition courts because they changed the courts out for those nights too. And those were cool because they meant something to the city. You mentioned the Rock Hall, where each letter was an iconic brand name, a band name on the jersey, and they also put that on the floor. So it kind of meant something for the city. But for these, it just feels like somebody just took Photoshop and threw up on it and printed it out and put it on a court. Like, that's kind of how it feels.
Luckily, the basketball games have been great.
Yeah.
And I think there's something to it, and there's something to the fact that it's the first in-season tournament, and aside from the price, the monetary price at the end, and aside from, a 4-day trip to Vegas, which nobody will say no to, I think the tournament will pick up by itself and hopefully leave out put the courts behind them, and God knows what they're gonna come up for the finals and for the last game. But I think the product in terms of basketball games has been there. We lost a tight game, and our next one is at home against Detroit, and we'll get to see our City Edition, and we'll get to see our version of the of the in-season court, which I am telling you, if you have not seen it, go to Cavs.com. It is really nice. I already thought it was nice when I saw Indiana and Chicago and Miami. Ours is wonderful.
Way nicer. The land, it's classy. It's the colors that you're familiar with.
Yes.
It looks like a basketball court. It's the same hardwood with that classy wine and gold. Raf, what are your thoughts on just the pure setup of this? You know, group of 5 play round robin, and then you have 8 teams, the winner of each group, plus a wild card from each conference, play in that single elimination type bracket. Games, obviously, Tuesday and Fridays mean a little bit more. Now, all this still counts for your regular season records. And then the knockout rounds is that what I think I'm looking forward to coming December 4th and through December 9th. I think I'm also just looking forward towards that a little bit more, just from my typical bets. You know, through December 4th through 9th will be some fun times, I think, for old Nicky P over here.
You know, this is the thing. Next set of games, which remember the in-season tournament games are Tuesdays and Fridays in the month of November. Not all of them, but some, like when we play Tuesdays and Fridays, those games are going to be in-season tournament, right?
Yeah.
It is important to realize that next game we play, we have to win it if we want to stay in the hunt. It's not really round robin. It's 4 games, 2 home and 2 away, right? And you lose 2 games, you kind of like in the hole. Remember, only the first place team in each group of 5 advances, and then the best second place on each side. So I think that the emotions will pick up once you start adding the numbers and who you got to play and where you're going to play. So the Cavs hosting the Pistons for the next in-season tournament, I think it's going to be an important one for them. And then, because these guys, I got to tell you something, they want to win everything, even the shooting contests and the shooting drills in practice. They want to win. So I know the guys are going to buy into it, and the excitement is going to start building once you get 2 or 3 games, and you have, you know, you're going to have, like, if this guy wants for the 4th night, if A team wins, you know, B is out or B has to beat. So for fans of basketball, I think that's the exciting part. Yeah. And then, like you said, the win or go home is the part where hey, you're playing for everything.
And that's why I was such a proponent and a fan of the idea at the time, because the only knock on the NBA, and it has done such a great job expanding over borders, you know, really growing the game globally. The audience right now is at an all-time high. The one knock was the regular season sometimes could be a little boring. So I like that they took the liberty of doing this so the games mean more. I think for the fans, anytime you could get a game that means more, they'll always tune in, and I think that's what they've done a nice job, despite what Bones Highland said, that he didn't know how it worked. But Bones, I think you knew how it worked.
No, come on. But I got to tell you something. The regular season is not boring, and it's so important, because aside from Miami just going from 10th to the finals, you'll basically see what you see in the regular season, and it's not. There's no other way around it, and that's why if you don't really get the work done and put in the work and fix your problems during the 82-game season, you're gonna have an issue in the playoffs. You know, whether you're young, like in our case, you know, we the first time there, we're trying to figure it out, and now veteran teams that are, you know, trying to figure things out and having groups come together. But the in-season tournament will be fine, like you said, once we go into the knockout rounds, and hopefully we're gonna be in it.
Alrighty, guys, our favorite segment, Booby 4-3, is just me and Raf. So we're sticking to 3, and this is gonna be one of the most fun segments that we've ever done. And you know what? Since he's not here, I'll give you the liberty to do as many as you want, and you're gonna like the reasoning why. Don't go anywhere. More Booby's World right after this. Welcome on in to Booby's World right here on the Big Play Network, beautiful shores of Lake Erie, here at the Big Play Studios, Burke Lakefront Airport. I'm Nick Padone. He's Rafa Hernandez Brito. Raf, we are going to rank. This one's tailor-made for you, my friend. The worst road arenas to call games in. So
Madison Square Garden, it's Crypto Arena. I don't know what the name of Oklahoma City is. Chicago. Half the league for me. But I can tell you, like, Philadelphia is one place that everybody complains about, especially my English colleagues, and it's not that bad compared to where I get placed. And I'm talking about the Spanish broadcast. Boston, they complain because we're like in the corner, right? Where if you were looking at the field house where the Cavaliers come out from the locker room, that's where all the radio is. To me, it's great. I'm in the first floor. It's like I don't care if I have a blind spot, but definitely worse. Are we talking worse?
Let's go our top 3 worst. And this comes right off the heels of that Cavs victory at Madison Square Garden. That was I was with you guys. That was my first time at MSG.
You saw where I was, right?
Cool stadium, but I did have to break out my binoculars to see you all the way up there on the 10th floor, Rob. It was quite a way up.
In terms of the way they run the arenas and the spot and everything, for sure, crypto in LA when we played the Clippers, because they put me in the hockey booth, and it really the people there are just bad. Madison Square Garden is also bad, and I'll have to put there Oklahoma City. I don't know what the name of it is now. They change it every year. Oklahoma City is in a hole where the cameras go, surrounded by fans, in a 6 feet table for 4 people with equipment and TVs and computers, and I see half the court. If I sit like a normal human being.
Jeez. So what do you have to do?
I have to lean in or stand up to see the whole court. So those would be my top 3. And there's plenty, Toronto and Chicago, I'm in the hockey booth. Philadelphia, I'm behind the basket, and the guys that are coming in for the timeout shows with the signs that says make some noise, whatever, they block my view, and it's so hard to do it because they're coming at me, but the TV is going the other way, so my right is their left, and it's crazy. But for sure, the Clippers, Crypto Arena, Oklahoma City wins by far, and I gotta throw in Madison Square Garden there, even though it's the first place I ever broadcast a game, and it's the world's most famous arena, and I'm a New Yorker. Like I always told you, if they were to do an auction to bid on pushing the button to blow up Madison Square Garden or Crypto Arena when they remodel, and I will put all my savings into winning that bid.
Rafa's going to blow up one of those arenas one day. We got to, I want to see it. I'm sure we could do it for charity.
Remember they used to do like the ball coming down in the building? Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That's what I would like to at least cut the rope so that the ball can go.
I think people also don't understand, just kind of the common fan. When you're calling a game, perspective is everything because you have your little monitor. But guys, when you're calling a game, your monitor is like the size of this. So try watching a game and commentating play by play what's going on with a little monitor like this. So when Rafa is talking about some of these bad viewpoints, it's not like he has all the help in the world. Like,
how about this?
Really flying blind.
You saw where I was in Madison Square Garden. When we post this show, I'm gonna reply with a video that I recorded. I have no monitor. They don't give me a monitor at Madison Square Garden. I literally, and I hate to be using this word, but I literally just go with my guys I know, but with the other side, I know the guy with the pink shoes is this guy. I know the guy with the left-handed shooting sleeve is Bronson, or quickly has the hair that kind of jumps up. So that's how I recognize some of the players from way up there. And that's what I always complain about. It's not the position, because I know we're not going to come lower because TV is getting off the floor now because they're selling those tickets, and I understand the nature of the beast. But when I don't get the tools that my English counterparts get, that's when I really lose it a little.
And monitor, that's a kind of a bare bones.
No
ask.
paper stats, it's no monitor for stats, no monitor for TV. It's just like, okay.
Yeah, you're literally up there with equipment just like that. Your headphones, your mic, and talking to whole
and in
base.
the 10th floor.
Jeez, crazy. I'll have to show you sometime, Ralph, at Kent State University, the Golden Flashes, my kind of experience, student media, which again, think about it like this. Calling games, like, you are being subject to the same environment that I was subject to in student media at Kent State. Years ago, we sat on top of the press box. They would put like a 6-foot folding table up on top of where the press sat, and we would call games literally with like our legs dangling off of the press box, looking over on the football field. This is not Kent State, folks. This is professional NBA broadcasters calling games 10 floors up at MSG, and I just hope people understand the difference there.
Candlestick Park was really the absolute worse because we would be in something they call the bird's nest.
Okay.
That we had to climb a ladder to get over. We were like over the media, over the press box. We had to go and against the wall, just go up the ladder and sit in a cage. And I'm not lying to you. My chair was made out of 2x4s. It was just basically nailed together, and it was like stools that we had at Candlestick Park. So it's. I know that people hate the Cowboys a lot, but I love Jerry Jones because we had a luxury suite, a luxury box. But in the old Cowboy Stadium, I have a light bulb because I called the last game at the old Texas Stadium, and I could actually just stand on my chair and I unscrew a light bulb on the last game we called there. That's how high we were up there, outside of the auxiliary press box. So. Wow. There's many on that list. I'm glad Booby wasn't here because he'd be complaining. I think I'm up to like 11.
Yeah. All right. Real quick, we'll just go through these rapid fire coolest stadiums in the NBA to call a game at.
I go based in position. I think we at the Cavs have one of the best positions for everybody, and I love the fact that we're all together. Like we don't put anybody separate when they come. So we are really good here in terms of position. Orlando treats us very well too. It's like half and half.
Yeah.
Like Portland, I love because I got a better position than the English guys. I'm like in front of them, and it's in the first level. And I think the floor is overrated.
Yeah.
Because players block you. I remember in the old
refs,
in the old Palace. We used to sit on the floor. TV was in the first row. I would sit behind TV, and they'd say LeBron would come in and check in, and he would sit right in front of the table. And now the ref, and then T-Lue never sat down, so it was like 3-4 people standing in front of you. So to me, the floor is overrated. I'm happy at the end of the first level, but yeah, for sure, us. Let's see what else. Orlando is a good area. It's a good place to go. Portland, the Moda Center is really nice. The Lakers used to be nice, but they took me off the center. But I'm still in the first floor, so it's as long as I can see the court, I'm fine.
Pretty easy ask for Rob. All right, he's gonna be hitting some road stadiums pretty soon. So we're gonna talk a little bit about this Cavs West Coast trip. Don't go anywhere. More Booby's World straight ahead. Welcome on in back to Booby's World right here on the Big Play Network. I'm Nick Padone. He's Cavs bilingual play-by-play announcer, Rafa Hernandez Brito. Rafa, and that was a lot of fun talking about just some of the stadiums around the league and obviously a huge West Coast swing coming up for the Cavs. What's kind of your routine as a broadcaster and someone that covers the team when you go on the road with the team? Is it kind of like a bonding experience? Does everybody kind of do their own thing? What's it like when you hit the road, especially for a long period of time?
Yeah, it depends. This one is kind of, we start in Oklahoma City, speaking of the devil, and then we have a couple of days in between our next game. So there'll be some time to spend there because, we're going to be in San Francisco and we're playing the Warriors. We're going to be going hunting for blood. We're going to be away from San Francisco for a couple of days and then we come back. So it's great. And then we go to Sacramento where I take like 20 to 25 people down to my parents' home and my mom cooks for everybody and my sister's going to make paella and we're going to have all kinds of guacamole and all kinds of awesome Salvadorian food and stuff. So the road is great. And then we go to Portland. Portland is great because we get to go to Nike store and we get to see the Nike complex. We're going to practice there and everything. So it is something where the team comes together, I believe, because here, yes, everybody goes home afterwards. Mm-hmm. Over there, they share meals together. We all have different routines. On the road, AC and I wake up at 6:15 in the morning, go to the gym, and then go to shoot around or practice. Some people do it at night, other people do it, but we try to at least have a meal together.
Yeah.
So especially when we're going for 10 days, and then by the middle of the road trip, you just want to be by yourself too because you'll be seeing the same people for 10 days. But I believe that's where, I don't know if you remember, like 2 years ago when we took the first road trip, long road trip out west. Was it last year? I forget if it was last year or it was the first full season with JB, and the second year because when we were traveling and we started out west, we beat Denver and then we beat the Lakers, and then I remember JB telling the guys, I said, guys, I know it's great, I know we're having fun, but guess what? We're gonna hit a spot in the season where we're gonna lose games. So this is where you need to remember this. To avoid finger pointing and I'm blaming this guy, I'm blaming the other. So I think the road is where the coaches take advantage of just coming and bringing everybody together.
The closeness of all of it.
Mm-hmm.
Question for you now. Laundry on the road, yes or no? Do you
No.
you pack for all those days? No laundry in the hotel?
I pack forever now. Too expensive, man. I save my per diem. There's no way. I might do laundry at my parents' home, but I'm not. I bring exactly what I need for those 10 days that we're going to have, and that's it. No laundry.
All right, you mentioned on the road when you get out west, you're going to have a big group of people swinging by, your home base. What's the best dish? You mentioned a lot right there. You threw out, the guac, the piata. What's the best dish that they're serving at your house on this road trip out west? Because if I was a part of that contingency, 10 days on the road, that's a long time being away from the girl, being away from the dog, being away from my parents. I'd be looking forward to that home cooked meal.
And
everybody
looks forward to, not only because it's a home cooked meal, but it's free. And everybody, at the end of the day, we're all trying to save and trying to do better. So I tell you what, my mom makes some really good ribs, and then she'll make some sausages and meat. It's a lot of meat, a lot of stuff to mix with. But my sister's gonna make a paella this year, so it's gonna be. The great thing is that it's a lot of eating.
Yeah.
And a lot of drinking. My mom takes care of the cooking. My dad has been asking me who's going, what everybody's drinking. They don't want anybody bringing anything. So my dad takes care of the cooler, and my mom takes care of the feeding. And we usually end up staying there till cars come out, and everybody brings their singles and.
Oh yeah. Late night at Ralph's. Might have to do a show from there someday. Just saying, Big Plate Dave. Send me out there too. All right, we got to snag one more quick commercial break. More Booby's World right after this. Welcome on back to Booby's World. He's Cavs bilingual play-by-play announcer, Rafa Hernandez Brito, LL Calde. I'm Nick Padone. Raf, this has been different with no
we need Booby, man,
out there scouting, but it's been fun having time to talk through some of these stories, especially as the Cavs and you guys get ready to go out west.
You know what it felt like? It felt like we're the two-way contract guys, and they just put us out there. There's no offense on the court right now. We're just like passing the ball. Nobody wants to shoot it, but we miss Booby, but we know he's doing what he really wants to do, right? He's been talking for so long about being part of the front office and doing some scouting, and we all know the story about with the money Bates that he.
I was just going to say, and Ryan, thank you for putting the camera on me. Booby is a very humble guy.
Yeah.
But what Booby won't say that I will, and probably wouldn't let me say if he was in the room with me, he scouted Amani Bates. He scouted Craig Porter Jr. Some of the guys that you're seeing on the Cavs today, that was Booby last year. So when he's missing on these shows, he's doing the Lord's work out there as Cavs fans for us, scouting what's up next for this
And I'm
team.
sorry to back up here, and going back to the question of who's been the most impressive, Craig Porter Jr., man. I love his presence on the court. I love the fact that he can actually, he doesn't look like he's out of place. He's not trying to force anything. And he's shown flashes that he's going to be here in the NBA, whether with us or with somebody, but somebody's going to give him an opportunity to play point guard at some point, because he's what he's made of, getting blocks and getting rebounds and assists and dunking it and passing and distributing the ball. I really like what I saw from him on the minutes, and he responded when with Jerome out and Garland out. He really came in and did some really good moments. He played at Madison Square Garden for the first time.
Yeah.
With the lights on, and you saw those theater lighting that when you stand on the court, everything else is dark. You don't see anything. And he played like a pro. I'm really impressed by him.
It was cool. MSG, cool experience. I do have to say, man, that Celebrity Row on a Tuesday night, Knicks and Cavs, is pretty next level. I mean, you got Chris Rock. They don't even show Spike Lee anymore.
No,
Like,
I think Dolan doesn't want him shown anymore.
yeah, I mean, it's just become so accustomed to, like, I saw him down there, like, yeah.
Although I gotta say, as a New
Chris
Yorker,
Rock.
I saw a couple of guys that I was like, "Who the hell are those guys?" So that kind of showed the Tuesday night in New York.
Not up to Rob standards. I saw Chris Rock, and that was enough
Yeah,
for me. They brought
yeah.
him out on a Tuesday night with a bunch of other stars as well.
How about this? Do you remember they have to delay the game by like 5 minutes because the dresses of the dancing team kind of
that was
came
crazy,
apart, and
all over the
even the
floor.
players were picking up stuff.
Yeah, Spike was pointing like where there was pieces of the dresses. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to Booby's World right here on the Big Play Network. For Raf, I'm Nick Padone. We'll be back with Booby next week. See you then.
Shoot it, Booby!